You may be familiar with nutmeg as a flavoring for mashed potatoes, for example. You're right. But did you know that just a few grams of this spice can be fatal? Today, I'm going to tell you about 5 foods that can kill you if they are poorly prepared or consumed in excessive quantities. I mentioned mashed potatoes a few seconds ago, but they also contain potatoes, which can kill you too. Hi! If you don't know us yet, we're AI Health Talk 360. We talk about nutrition and physical health, and sometimes we discuss disease causes. If you're interested, please hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. So let's get started with today's topic. The first food is potatoes. This staple food is truly emblematic of French cuisine. It's incredible how many potatoes people in northern France eat. On average, a French person eats an estimated 50 kilograms of potatoes per year. That's a lot. But what about other European countries, or even the United States? In any case, potatoes are widely consumed. While they seem completely harmless, they can be very dangerous to your health if consumed incorrectly. Why? Because they contain a molecule called solanine. Solanine is a toxic substance that can be dangerous if consumed in large quantities. There are 2 types of symptoms. First neurological, then gastrointestinal. First, you will tremble, lose your balance, and have difficulty moving your limbs coherently. Next, you will experience severe digestive symptoms, including intense diarrhea and vomiting. This is normal. Your body is trying to expel the poison from your system. In most cases, the mortality rate is very low. Patients mainly have a very irritated and damaged digestive system, which will need to be repaired. There is also a risk of dehydration due to vomiting and diarrhea. So, how can this be avoided? You should eat potatoes that have not sprouted or been exposed to bright sunlight for too long. Avoid potatoes with large sprouts or a pronounced green color on their surface. It is best to store them in a cool, dry place, away from light. When making raclette, it is important to peel the potatoes and remove all sprouts. On the subject of nutrition, potatoes are not the most beneficial starchy food for a balanced diet. Among tubers, try eating sweet potatoes instead, as they are higher in fiber and therefore better for you. Among starchy foods, think about whole grain options such as wholemeal pasta. Also consider brown rice and legumes such as lentils and beans. The second food is nutmeg, which is usually sold in powder form. It is a spice that is widely used in French cuisine. Its most common uses are in bechamel sauce, gingerbread, and purees. Despite its harmless appearance, nutmeg contains a molecule called myristicin, which is toxic and has powerful psychoactive effects. Consuming small quantities can cause numbness and dizziness. In short, these are the effects that people who consume it for recreational purposes are looking for. However, high doses can cause violent symptoms such as palpitations, cold sweats, paranoia, tremors, convulsions, vomiting, and nausea. It is estimated that consuming 20 g of nutmeg powder could be fatal. There's no question of forbidding you from consuming it. It's only 2 tablespoons. You just have to consume it properly. So, how do you do that in practice? Well, you simply measure it out. Don't consume insane amounts. Just because it can be deadly doesn't mean you should view it as harmful or avoid it altogether. If you drink 100 liters of water, you'll probably die, and yet water is essential for your health. So remember to consume nutmeg whenever you can. It's a spice with many interesting health properties. It is particularly renowned for alleviating digestive and menstrual discomfort, and it also has aphrodisiac properties. Let's talk about aphrodisiacs. If you want to know which foods can improve your erectile function, we've already made a video about it. You can find it just above or in the description. Third on the list are cashews. You know them well. You often see them as an appetizer or alongside peanuts. However, they can be dangerous as they contain urushiol, a molecule that is an allergenic substance and deadly poison if ingested in large doses. But that's not all. Cashews can also be infested with fungi that produce a toxin called aflatoxin. This is a powerful carcinogen and deadly poison if the dose is high enough. But don't panic. To avoid any risk, one of the rare times I'll say this, but in this case, it's better to eat industrially produced cashews than fresh ones. Why? Because the cashews you find in shops have been steamed, which destroys the urushiol. What you really need to avoid is eating cashews that are almost fresh from a small-scale producer who cannot guarantee safety standards. But let's be honest, this isn't something that happens every day. So there's absolutely no reason to cut cashews out of your diet unless you're allergic. The fourth food that could kill you is rhubarb. Are you familiar with rhubarb? It's a leafy plant that is considered a fruit from a nutritional point of view. The problem with rhubarb is that not all of it is edible. The stalk, especially the core, is fine to eat once it has been peeled. However, the thin skin on the surface of the stalk and the leaves contain oxalic acid, which is toxic if ingested. This skin and these leaves contain oxalic acid, a substance best avoided. Oxalic acid has anti-rust properties and is used to bleach wood in particular. The problem with oxalic acid is that it can crystallize. If you consume too much, crystals and clots can form in your body. As is often the case, these clots can threaten kidney health by causing kidney stones. Firstly, you are putting the health of your kidneys and your entire urinary system at risk. Be very careful, because your kidneys are one of your body's main filters, alongside your liver, skin, and intestines. It is crucial to learn how to take care of your kidneys if you want them to continue functioning properly. If you're interested in learning about the warning signs of kidney failure, there's a video at the top of the screen with more information. Other symptoms include severe abdominal pain, an unpleasant burning sensation in the mouth, and a common defense mechanism of the body, vomiting and diarrhea, which can lead to malnutrition and dehydration, although this is quite rare. There have also been reports of people ingesting rhubarb leaves, which can lead to intense seizures and convulsions followed by cardiac arrest. Therefore, rhubarb should not be taken lightly, whether raw or cooked. In fact, oxalic acid is always present in the skin and leaves of rhubarb. So how can you eat rhubarb safely? You must only consume the stems, peel them, cook them. Even if you're going to throw some away, try not to eat the part of the stem that is closest to the leaf. Following these 2 tips should normally keep you out of trouble. It is estimated that there are approximately 0.2 grams of oxalic acid in 100 grams of rhubarb, and the compounds become toxic at a level of 5 grams or more. Therefore, consuming 1 kilogram of rhubarb or more per day is relatively safe. The 5th and final food I want to talk to you about today is the elderberry tree, which you've probably seen before. It produces small white flowers and small dark blue or black berries. Both the flowers and the berries are edible. You may have heard of elderberry syrup. But why are they dangerous? It's because the raw, unripe berries contain a molecule called cyanogenic glycoside. If you listen carefully, you'll notice that the word cyanogenic contains the word cyanide, which you may be familiar with. Cyanide is one of the most powerful poisons in existence. You may have seen this in spy movies, where spies have a false tooth containing cyanide. When captured by the enemy, they break that tooth to avoid torture or revealing information. Cyanide kills them almost instantly. As you can see, you shouldn't mess around too much with this little molecule. In terms of symptoms, this is fairly typical of poisoning or intolerance. First, there will be intense headaches and awful intestinal pain and cramps, as well as vomiting and diarrhea. This is rarely life-threatening unless the diarrhea and vomiting last too long and cause dehydration. But normally, you will feel it coming on. It's not like nutmeg, where a single dose can be fatal. To avoid any problems with elderberries, try not to eat too many at once if it's your first time, and choose the ripest, darkest berries, which are easy to recognize. Avoid those that are green, red, or light blue. Next, the second precaution is, of course, to cook the elderberries. If you're making jam or syrup, cooking is part of the process. However, cooking will ensure you get rid of a good portion of these toxins. Finally, make sure that you only consume the berries or flowers. Remove the stems and leaves and ensure that no pieces of tree bark are present in your preparation, as these parts contain even more toxic compounds than the berries themselves. Provided you follow these tips, consuming elderberries from time to time is absolutely fine. They are an excellent source of antioxidants and have anti-inflammatory properties, among others. That's what I wanted to tell you today. Let us know in the comments if you learned something new, or if you already knew that these 5 foods could be harmful. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We'll see you soon to discuss another topic. A quick reminder, we're also on TikTok. You'll find the link to our channel in the description. Take care of yourself and your loved ones. Bye-bye.